HBCU Overdrive is proudly sponsored by WeWorkForEverything.org. At WeWorkForEverything.org, this is for those who are trying to build for a dream with their latest hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and accessories and more. You can have it all here at a reasonable price. Black owned and operated out of the great state of New York. Like I said, get suited and booted. Check it out at WeWorkForEverything.org. Peace. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, man? I'm over here having technical difficulties, but we are in the building. Had to bring on this quick little live, you know. Um, got a new, what I'm saying, gonna have a new segment to talk about. Let's talk about it. Oh, but anyway, man. Anyway, I know everybody's at work. I know everybody is waiting to get off of work, ready to go home. I am off work today, so that is the reason why. That is the reason why I am on this thing right now. But, but yeah, if you haven't done about now, make sure that you like the stream. Make sure that you comment and share. Most of all, subscribe to the channel. Become a member of the hottest HBCU podcast that's out there right now. I'm your boy. I'm your host. I'm your player partner, Doc Holiday. I am the voice of the HBCU culture. And as always, you know how we do the rundown of what's going on right here. Always you want to become a subscriber, all you have to do is just hit that follow button, hit that join button, hit that subscribe button to become a HBCU Overdrive subscriber. All right. And but other than that, man, always make sure you want to become a follower on Twitter and on Instagram, man. Just hit us up at HBCU Overdrive. Also, if you want to know, you want to become an exclusive member, all you have to do is just hit that join button and become an exclusive member of the Overdrive family. We have two tiers. We have purple and we have blue. Everything you see on here, you get all the membership perks to go with it. Also, if you want to, this is our last week of our child speech impediment initiative, and we'll start on an initiative next week. So if you want to, you can hit the cash app to HBCU Overdrive. And always, we got birthdays up this week. And as we go into September. But other than that, man, look, we just gonna talk about it. You know, I'm not trying to make light of the situation right here. I'm not trying to um not trying to, downplay the situation. As we all know, on the real, as we all know, that uh, the NCAA did deny Tyler Brown's uh, waiver regarding mental health, which, I'm going to tell you just like this. I'm going to say it like this. Do I think that it's wrong And do I think that is wrong that they denied it? Because I got you, KJ. I got you. We not, we not gonna do that. We not gonna do that. So all right. So hold on, y'all. Let me change this because I'm getting text at the wazoo about this. So and I probably just want to change. I'm gonna change the thumbnail also, y'all, so we can on one. I don't want to get I don't want to get no issue or nothing like that. But y'all give me a minute. All right, give me a minute. All right, hold on. Okay. Yeah, I did it. I thank you. Nah, you good, KJ. We good on this. So I'm just adjusting everything up so we won't, I'm not trying to get flagged for this on anything like that. So I'm not trying to do anything. Because the main thing is that it is it has something to do with mental health, and I can attest that I mean that I mean I'm not an expert at being mental health, but I have dealt with it. But uh we not gonna go into it. So um I'm not, and I'm not even gonna, my whole thing is I'm not even gonna judge about his mental health because that is not my place. That is not the way that I want to do this. You know what I'm saying? But just to give the overall perspective of that there are places that we can go to get help for our mental, for any type of mental illness, any type of mental disability. There are places that we can go to make sure that we are at peace. Uh, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. Do I feel for him as far as his mental capacity, but as far as the mental, everything going on with him? Yes, I do, because I can sympathize with that. I can empathize with that because it happened to me before. I'm gonna say it just like this. I've been clinically depressed since I was diagnosed with clinical depression since I was 9 years old. Didn't even know it. And then I try to hide everything. So it's like I don't want to let nobody know what's going on with me. But when I got to the point to where I can accept it and make, accept it and learn how to deal with it, then it became part of, it's part of me. And it's, I always say that any type of mental health, depression, whatever, is not going to go away. So it's not going to go away. And I'm gonna be real honest with everybody. I'm gonna be real honest with everybody. I am going to empathize with him because I don't want to see our black kids go. You know what I'm saying? Go through situations like this. I don't want to see our young black kids, especially us young black men, to go through situations like this. So, but the thing about it too is like for the NCAA to deny saying that, well, if you're you're able to get up out of the bed, there's no problem. That's a bunch of bull. That is a bunch of bull. And so I'm not trying to bash the kid. I'm not trying to bash Collar. I'm not trying to bash nobody. I'm just want to bring to light of what's going on. And you know, to me, I feel like we have, we have at Jackson State's campus, and I know at plenty of campuses around America, especially our HBCUs, they have places where, like I said, you can go and get the help that you need. That's the main thing that we want to understand. There are places on your campus that you can go and get the help that you need. See, 23 years ago, I knew about that. Now, take that back, not 23, 27 years ago, 26 years ago, 27 years ago, I knew about it, but I didn't get, I tried to hide it from everybody. I was ashamed of it. And I said that he's ashamed of it because he spoke out about it. But I wasn't one of those kids that was able to speak out about what was going on. And like, sometimes sometimes we rely on certain things that get us through the day. I relied, heavily, and I'll be real honest, I relied heavily on marijuana to get me through the day when I was younger. Um, you know, a lot of people are saying, the thing about, well, you, you follow Coach Prime, but and also the NCAA had already made the rule prior saying that two-time transfers, you got to have some sort of waiver in order to compete for the 23-24 season. So, and then you got to understand, if you are seeking help and stuff like that, doctors can't say anything because there are HIPAA laws. There are HIPAA laws that protect patient client privilege. So we can't delve into that. You can only go by what somebody says, by what that person says. And it hurts. Like we don't in Ron, we don't have we we do have a history that we don't talk about our mental health. We don't. We do. I mean, we do have a history. I'm sorry. I'm getting my words mixed up. We do. But, you know, it's a new day now where we have to be mindful of, you know, putting it out there, even if you feel ashamed of it. and I'm gonna get everybody some questions. And I know some people coming up here. I know if KJ, you are. I know you my resident lawyer up in here. If you want to, you can come up here and it's kind of explain to people what's going on. And I don't, like I said, I'm not trying to talk bad about the. I'm not trying to talk bad about the kid because I think he is a good kid. I think that's the reason why I say it's misguided. Um, and y'all know we have, everybody, everybody in here, everybody on this channel, everybody subscribe to this channel. They have a love and affinity for their university, their institutions. Point blank. Um, to say that one institution did not have the necessary resources to help out any student is baloney. It's trash. What's going on, Will? What's happening? That's my boy Will right here in between the game sports. Man, y'all go check him out. And what's going on? Mo, how you doing?
Hey, Doc, what's up?
Hey, I ain't seen you in a minute. It's been a minute.
I've been doing stuff with the veterans.
Hey, now tell me what your take is. And I know I don't want to jump, like I said, I don't want to step on nobody's toes. I don't want to talk saying I'm talking bad about the kids or nothing like that because I'm not.
Oh no, I'm not even want to talk about that. I just want to say, if it's on, I was a student athlete, and when I
Mm-hmm.
transferred, um, I went to school in Kansas at Fort Scott at one of the junior colleges, and my coach got a new job and went to North Illinois, I think it was, and they
Mm-hmm.
asked us at the time, "Hey, you could go with the coach, or you could stay." Um, And at the time of the transfer, we was like, I didn't understand it, but I knew, but I was told that somebody was like, well, hey, when you switch schools, you should get, before you switch, you should get an associate's degree so that if you do transfer, you
Mm-hmm.
won't have eligibility issues. At the time, I
Right.
didn't really know what that meant at that time. So there was 96. So when I did go to another school, I came to South Carolina, went to Voorhees, um,
Mm-hmm.
HBCU for basketball, and I never forget because I was running cross country just to do stay in shape. It was basketball season starting. It was like, oh, you can't play. I'm like, what?
Right.
I can't play. It's like you transferred in, and I was like, yeah, but I can recall. So, um, the first game I remember sitting down and said it was like, you want to play volleyball because you're eligible, and so I was like, how am I eligible to do these sports, but I'm not eligible to play basketball? And
Mm-hmm.
they was troubleshooting, other schools and all that, and I was like, man. So, one of the instructors who also used to be an athlete, they asked, it was like, don't you have an associate's? And I was like, yeah. So it was like, let's go back. So they went back to the dean, and it was like, oh, based on her having an associate, she is eligible. But I came in with the associates, but just talking the transfer knowledge, they was
Mm-hmm.
gonna sit me out for a year, and I was like, man. So when I
Right.
see student athletes transferring, always
Mm-hmm.
before they start to switch to school, whether even if it's just academic, I always say, hey, before you leave that first school, get, even if it's a general studies associate,
Right.
declare graduation on a general associates, and then go ahead and transfer out. Because if you get to another school, because it's twofold. One, we're dealing with an athlete, but you're also dealing academic as well, because you don't know how your hours are going to transfer. So you don't know if you're going to be repeating academically, based on coursework and where you're going and how they're going to weigh it. I know I ended up repeating a lot of classes because of coming from a junior college into a 4 year, and the way the classes were classified. So I always
Yeah.
say that part, not even talking the mental health piece. So when he left University of Louisiana, even if it was on, even if it was due to, the death of his coach and the incident, they
Mm-hmm.
probably, if they allowed him to transfer, he probably should have did a waiver so it would be on record, and then that way, because you can't. I learned from the military,
word of mouth is not justification to say, okay, you good, you could go. No, it's not gonna count against you. Let me get that in writing. I need
Right.
that in writing,
Right.
because now you got, you technically have two transfers on the books. And if that's the rule, despite how we feel, the rules are the rules, and they'll make an example out you in a minute. But I'm thinking that that first transfer, if they let them leave based on that information, that somebody probably should have educated them on getting that waived as a transfer status.
And that's what we was talking about. I think me and my co-host on Saturday, we was talking about this a while back. That once you got that, once you get that second transfer, once you get that second transfer from an FBS program, then you're going to end up trying to do an appeal. So the thing about it is that that first transfer was legitimate because he was going from FBS to FCS because he dropped down a division. So I mean, he dropped down a subdivision, and now you the second transfer, he's going back up to a FBS school. And I feel like they're taking that into consideration. Like you went from you went from one school to another school and then to another school because in a sense, yes, everybody know, and we all know you follow the coach. A lot of y'all follow the coach, which, like I said, that's you make grown man, y'all make grown man decisions, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have to live with some of the consequences of your decisions. So I don't, and my thing is a lot of our student athletes are not getting they're not
Educated.
getting educated on the transfer rule. Now, the transfer rule, they just modified the transfer rule like about a couple of months ago. So if he did this before they modified it, then I feel like he should have been grandfathered in. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
if it's if the NCAA said retroactive on a certain day, then what can you do? You can't really do anything.
That's an important point.
And and I watched like I said, I watched the video, and I'm not gonna say too much anything because I'm gonna keep my own opinions to myself. But what I did hear him say that was when he was at Jackson that he didn't get the necessary resources to help out. And I'm not saying that he might have not known or he might have not been, might not been advised or anything like that. But my whole thing is, and a lot of us from in our community, in our HBCU community, felt like that was a jab at all of us. You get what I'm saying? Like
I thought he said, or maybe it was Coach Prime said, one of them said that he was in a group session on Thursday evenings.
Well, we don't know. I can't say we can't put that out because like I said, it's a HIPAA laws
you
prevent
can't.
all this. You can't. And if anybody else, if anybody putting this information out there, y'all better find y'all a good lawyer. KJ, you up in here? They need a good lawyer. But
let me ask you. So, did he get denied based on?
Uh oh. Let me bring it back up. But and you know what I'm saying? Like we have the services. We always have the services.
Weather bad. The weather's bad. We get the hurricane coming through.
Yeah, y'all doing good. Y'all straight out there.
Yeah, it's just raining right for my area. It's just raining right now. It's a steady rain. It's not going crazy yet.
Is it? And you in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to come through tomorrow. So, but did was the denial on the medical piece, or was the denial on the transfer?
Uh,
I think the denial is on the transfer.
I think it was on the transfer, and my whole thing is, and this is my whole thing, and I'm informing if he does watch this, and I'm just going to inform, dude, if you're watching this, I just want you to understand that we do understand if you are going through this. I empathize with you. But at this present moment, take care of yourself first. And I'm
Yeah,
just saying that from man to man, take care of yourself first.
yeah. Coping.
It
You mentioned something earlier, very important. Um, because as vet, we take all those classes and all of that great stuff, and that was that
Mhm.
one that admitted that acceptance and admittance. And then you said
Yeah,
something else very relevant is that it doesn't go away. You really
it
only
don't.
can find coping, methods, and those methods have to be consistent, and it has to be, and you can still find yourself with a nice quality lifestyle. You just have to know your triggers. And if football is an opportunity, basketball was mine. If
Right,
football is his coping, it doesn't have to necessarily be a game day. You just have to find your, even if you're planning on a game, or have to find yourself in that space of deal, with that, which is very sensitive, especially when you're dealing with somebody close to you. Very,
right,
very, very sensitive. I lost my sister-in-law in January, and my brother is going through. You hear me? And I don't even know how to. I had to tell him, "Hey, you need some professionals, bro, because I don't even know. I've never lost anybody that close. I
right,
don't even know what to say. But you have to remind them, redirect, get yourself in an activity, make sure your mind is not, dormant. And even when it does come up, make sure breathing exercises. If he's not aware of mindfulness, there's some YouTube video mindfulness. um Heck, I give them all the training tools they give us in the military, to help out. Yeah, but the transfer, if you pull that up, do you have that? I'd like to see that rule, but I know that transfer rule has been in place. I've been out of school for going on. I've been out of school since '99, college. So if it was in play, the transfer rule in play, and you sitting out a year when I was in college between
hmm
'94 and '99, so you
yeah.
already
You had
know
yeah.
that rule ain't going nowhere.
And the only way he could play immediately was he moved from one subdivision to another, which was he moved down,
in,
and
in the
then
same
if
plan.
yeah,
When
but
you said
so like he went so like he was at Louisiana Lafayette, which is FBS, and then
Mhm.
went to Jackson State. We are at FCS school, and then he made the move to Colorado, which is another FBS school. So it's kind of like they took that FCS school out of the way and just say, well, this FBS school you're going to, you have to sit out a year. And that was how it was back then. Like, like it was, like you said, back then, like if you went from another, let's just say you went from Power Five school to another Power Five school, you had to, they make you sit out
one year.
unless you have unless you have a waiver and everything like that. And so, and my thing is, if like you want to keep, if you just, if you got coping mechanisms and stuff like that, go to practice. If you can practice, you could practice. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the thing, you're not going to be able to play in the game. Get them. You always want to get the mind right before you do anything else. I try to say that all the time with myself. I ain't gonna say I talk to myself all the time, but I've always said this, that before I do anything else, I always get my mind right. I mean, like I always just chill and be to myself, and and think about all the good things, or just think about what I'm gonna say on this dang on podcast, or what's gonna be presented, who's gonna come on, and stuff like that. Like my podcast, it right now is my coping mechanism. If I
Yes.
feel, if I feel down,
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
gonna jump on this thing.
Hey, you can talk to the camera. Ain't nobody. You look. You ain't got to see nobody. They get judged. You can't see no
I don't have
facial expressions.
Right. Yeah, like that's true. I read comments, and my team gonna tell me don't read the comments. They don't read the
Listen,
comments. I'm like,
listen, Doc, didn't so let's play a little devil's advocate. Wasn't there a player that left CU and went to another school and he didn't get the waiver because it was his second transfer as well? Was it a
I
quarterback or some position guy, and he didn't get the waiver either. They denied him too.
I had to see, and I
Yeah, he
feel like, and I had to see. I haven't checked in on that, and it's a
it,
couple of kids that got transferred from another school, from other schools that been to different schools,
and
and
couldn't.
they got their waivers accepted.
Oh,
And it just sometimes it comes to the thing. It comes into place like, okay, well, the NCAA is being like so biased over here, but then what I'm saying, it's a
oh,
whole different situation, but it's something that we can't um
we got
but it's something that we just don't, we just don't say, just don't do. And I just want to make sure this shit don't get flagged, because I ain't trying to hear nobody about thinking that I'm talking bad about this kid or nothing like that. And it's not, I'm not talking bad about him, but that you have, as a grown young man, you have to understand when there are consequences, there's also repercussions that follows those consequences. Point blank. It's just like if you got a girl pregnant, guess what? What's your repercussion? You about to have a baby. you know, uh,
yes.
your
Hey,
consequence.
yes. Don't read
If
the
you,
chat. They going wow.
uh,
No, don't read them. Don't read it.
oh Lord, dog, I'm not reading these texts. I'm not gonna read
Hey,
I'm not gonna read the chat, y'all.
since you all, y'all like bringing awareness and bringing information out, maybe y'all should pull up those transfer rules one day. And the student athletes are probably paying more attention to the YouTube than they are, everyday people conversations, and
Yeah,
say, hey, listen, these are your rules. This is what they have in place, and y'all already know we don't get the same favor everybody else gets, so you need to be aware. You got to be aware. I
gotta
mean,
be
we
aware.
can you gotta be aware, and you gotta take that with a grain of salt. Sometimes we don't be wanting to. We want it to go our way, but it ain't going our way. We already know how that works.
And the crazy thing about this, they got their first game is Saturday against TCU, and he was going to be a contributing factor on their offensive line. In fact, he was going to be a starter on the offensive line, and now it's like they have to make a
Readjust.
pivot, readjust.
You are you saying he gonna hold off the big dude at TCU? Is that what you trying to say? He gonna hold off the big dude? I'm just being mad.
Man, I don't know,
Hey,
but
that
it's
dude
just
is huge.
that dude that like really in reality, I'm gonna be honest with you, Mo. eh, I I don't think that offense is going to run the way that it wants to run without him in the lineup. Because in a sense, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Shador put his trust in him
Oh,
to
because
protect
they've been
him.
playing. They've been playing
Yeah,
for what?
for
Well, you gotta
mm.
you gotta adjust. Hey, you gotta adjust.
So my thing about that is that you like now you got to adjust on the fly. Now this is when you have to put your coaching hat on and adjust to the environment that you're going to be in, and adjust to what you're not going to have out there on that field. So like I
He
said,
ain't, he ain't been
like
on
I
that field
said,
a couple weeks though, haven't he? Hasn't been on that field in a couple weeks.
I mean, well they have, their first game is Saturday, so everybody,
But
they was.
he he hasn't been well. He hasn't we ain't seen him in the videos in a few weeks.
Oh no, not really. But I'm gonna just say, I said just like this. I said just like this. Just like I said, just chill out. Just get everything settled, get everything right with you. and you know what I'm saying, like you have to, you know, just readjust and never try to run from it, because only thing that's going to happen is it's going to be right along there with you. It's nothing that would actually go away. um but the thing about it is too, with some of these kids that left out of our program, beforehand they were informed. They were being informed not to just immediately jump in the portal because he was leaving. And I was, my thing about that is that
Man,
you have to be informed. That's why I'm saying, like, some of these parents and some of these coaches and nothing like that, they not giving these kids the actual answer. They're not telling them the brutal, honest truth. Like, they're not giving them this scenario like, hey, it might not be you might not have a chance to play. If you go with this transfer, you might not have a chance to play. Or if you go with this transfer, you might be low on the depth chart. Or if you go with this transfer, um, there's a chance that um, they won't even consider bringing you in, or you could be sitting in that transfer portal for a long time.
Sometimes the student athletes, football has more numbers. A lot of in basketball have less, or whatever other sports. You
Mm-hmm.
want to just everybody, you really just want to play. You don't consider, when you're coming up to the next level, that everybody that comes got skills and everybody wants to play. And then you have to deal with that piece, the quality of athleticism that you're bringing. And then you have to
Right.
deal with whether the coach, your coach's favorite, or if you are winning in the eyes of the coaches in those positions. And so sometimes people, you're on teams, and sometimes you're just what we call practice dummies, and sometimes you are the stars.
Right.
And a lot of times, and then it comes with character, all of that plays a factor. And then sometimes you just get to be that person. And I was a pretty good athlete, and a lot of times I always had some friends who came behind me or whatever. And it used to be very contentious because, you always had to assure someone that, you know, you don't make the decision. The coach makes the decision who's gonna get in the game or not. But in the same
Mm-hmm.
sense, you got to make it. I always used to say you got to make it count in practice, because you can't say, "Well, I'm gonna be this way when I get in the game." Well, if you ain't showed it in practice, 9 out of 10 your butt ain't getting in the game.
Right.
Okay, you got to come with it. You can't. Angel Reese made a comment to what's the name the little guard. I can't remember her name, but the little guard in the game once they had a clip, and she said, "Hey,
Mm.
you gotta show up every day. You can't
Right.
just show up when you wanna. We need you every game, every day. Like, this stuff
Right.
has to count, And so I take that with athletes. Period. Like, you already have to fight against the fact that, man, am I gonna get on the field? Because it's probably people that came before you, or people who are
Mm-hmm.
already in the fan favorite. But in the same sense, you have to have confidence in you and know, because some people, Doc, let's be real. We get in college and we think we going to the pros. We ain't going to no pros. You already know,
Right.
but we
Right.
but we think we are. And so instead of just being happy to play or get whatever time you get, it is what it is, because those numbers, you're not just talking about your school, you're talking about multiple schools around the nation. And you always have to be that dude or that girl type of person. I do like the fact that the coaches are now are well, I do like the fact of the NIL deals, for those who are earning their way. But then I also like the fact of the ones who, the NFL guys coming back and trying to play intricate parts, or getting involved with some of the mid leagues. But I don't think they should give up some of the mid leagues. The other levels. There's a lot of other levels now. If you don't go to the NFL, you can go to some of these other places. You just might not make as much.
Right.
you know.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix up some stuff
I
on
see.
here. So
I see you. I
I'm
see you
trying to
over
fix
there.
some stuff. Trying
Don't
to
let me
fix some
mess up
stuff
your
on here.
podcast. You know, I'm just running my mouth.
Nah. But yeah, when it comes down to it, like I said, we I want to get back to want to highlight the Latasha Norman Center for that's at Jackson State. It was named after one of our students that was unfortunately unalived by somebody that was real close to her, and we named her. We named that building after her, and they always have they provide anything and everything for mental health, and I wish, in a sense, I'm gonna be real honest with y'all. I wish that the center was there when when I was in school at one point in time. But like I said, I didn't know anything because I didn't know anything because I didn't want to know anything because I wanted to run away from my problems, and I try to put a mask over it.
Well, sometimes you don't really, you don't know what you don't know. Um, Sometimes when those triggers are what we know now as triggers are occurring and happening, or you get anxiety, because a lot of depression or people who deal with any type of mental health illness, they sometimes they're going about their regular daily lives, they're working, coming home, they're just doing normal stuff, and those thoughts and our triggers happen that you just wouldn't put a hand with. I'll give you a case in point. So everybody know, well, if everybody don't know, I'm a retired veteran. When I first came, they used to say, you come back from deployment, it's going to take you about a year to get acclimated back into
Hmm.
society. And when you're young, man, you be like, yeah, whatever. They tell you, take your time, slow down, don't drive, don't this, don't that. And I never forget, man. When I got back from Iraq and um was dealing in regular day society, man, shit, everything was just like abnormal. Like I was like, I can't be amongst people. Like I wanted to be in these little, stay on post, don't go here, don't go there. And at first, it was just like I would get real agitated. I was just getting
Hmm.
agitated for no reason. I was using language that I wouldn't normally use. I would just get upset. I was just all out of whack. But at the time, I didn't realize I just thought that I really thought I was just being myself, and I really wasn't. I was acting all out of the norm. So I had a veteran come to me one day. She's like, "Hey, take a trip with me." So she started telling me her story, and then she started talking to me. She's like, "You're depressed," and I'm like, "I ain't depressed, girl. I ain't depressed. You're depressed." I was
Hmm.
like, "No, I'm not," and I'm just going. She said, "You see how you just going all crazy? I'm just having a normal conversation. You just all out of whack." And man, she started just highlighting just little things, and I was like, "Shit, I do that." She's like, "Yeah, yeah." Yeah, this is what you do when this happens. This is what you do when this happens. And I was like, what? She's like, you need to go see a therapist. And I was like, so I kid you not, doc, the first 5 sessions, all I did was sit there and I just cried, cried,
Hmm.
cried. And the therapist at the time, he was just like, you ready to talk? And I was like, talk about what? I still don't. I'm still not buying in because I'm still clueless and lost. Now I know I'm emotional. I know I'm doing some things, but I really don't know what to say and how to say it. So for the
Hmm.
first 5 sessions, he said, okay, I'll meet you here next week. We'll cry for another hour. So I would come back, and as soon as I would want to say something, so at that moment, like after my third session, I realized that I didn't really want to expose that I felt like I felt distance, I felt withdrawal, I felt
Right.
out of the norm. I felt like I didn't fit in with people. I felt like people wasn't really getting what I was saying. Now I'm a leader, so I'm supposed to be able to relay, train, educate people, and I just was like it just like nothing just would go right. And was it going right? It probably was, but it just in my opinion, I just felt all crazy. So I've realized that I didn't want to expose that I felt a type of way. I just thought that, well, I'm just not relating, so maybe that's normal. So when I got to the fifth session, I started I said, well, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing here, but can I just talk? And here's what I need you to do. I don't want you to respond to me. I just want you to
Mhm.
let me talk because I
Right.
don't want to feel like you're judging me. So just let me talk. So that,
That's
but
good.
that fifth session, he just let me talk. And man, I just went on and on and on and on. And then when I was done, I was just like, and he said, okay, are you relaxed now? And I was like, I said, yeah, man, that was a lot. I said, I hope I didn't. He said, no, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And man, I was just like, whoa, okay. He said, okay, so you ready for some more sessions? I said, yeah. So I did about 4 more sessions and I would just talk, talk, talk. So I started. So I started coming up with a plan on how when I feel like I'm gonna do certain things because I didn't
Mhm.
want to be that person. I want that character. So I started pulling back, I started understanding and paying attention to myself. And so then
Mhm.
I was like, I heard some people that was going to a group. So I was like, can I go to a group? Because maybe I'll recognize some more things and I could kind of brush up on it. Cool. So I never forget the first group. I forgot it was called. I forgot what it was called. But I got in there and I was in there with all these male veterans, and I just sat there and I listened, and that's when I learned about breathing exercises. And I was like,
Right.
oh, I realized, Doc, I didn't know how to calm down and breathe.
Right.
And so when I did it for the first, when I got worked up, and so I would just try to calm down. I couldn't even. I was like, damn, this is a okay, okay,
Yep.
you got a problem. You got to fix this, right? So make a long story short, my next class, accepting and admittance. That's when I realized that, because at first, I was real angry, and so the lady at the time, I remember the first class, she said, "What y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna die, or you're gonna live." I was like, well, man, I would like to live. She's like, well, then you're gonna don't never. I never forget. She said, don't never let nobody tell you that depressed people don't smile. I
Right.
said, what? So you mean to tell me I'm walking around here all angry, mad, upset at the world, act like and they was like, yeah, I was like, oh man. She's like, but you gotta remember, you're gonna have high moments, you're gonna have low moments,
Hello
you're gonna have
moments.
dark moments, you're gonna be in light, you're gonna be up one minute, you're gonna be down. You just have to know what's going on at the time and know how to communicate it. And so I never wanted to tell people, because I had got mine was due to injury. So I never wanted to tell people how hurt I was. I never showed
Mhm.
people how hurt I was. So I remember the first time I went, I said, oh, I gotta go get me a device. I went and got these crutches, and it was like, you on crutches? I was like, yeah, this stuff I don't let y'all see. I take about 1 million pain pills to come out and do what I do. So then I had to get a chair. I had to because I needed to maneuver. And then I realized, man, after I went through that class, oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. But now I still have to deal. I still have my moments. I have stuff to do. But guess what? Now I understand. I understand how to cope. I understand what to do. So I'll talk to people, especially from veterans' perspective, or anybody who's dealing with depression. I was like, yo, because they always say, "Oh, you so upbeat. You always this." I'd be like, "Listen, do you know what it takes for me to get through a day?
Yeah,
Whoo!"
it's a lot to get to a day, and I can tell you my story, y'all. Like I said, my father passed away when I was 9 years old. So at the time, and I told people this, I told my team this yesterday. So when my father passed, I was one of those kids where I was looking for the guidance from a male figure. It didn't matter who it was from, but at the time, my mom was like, the streets was trying to get me. Basically, I'm gonna just tell you just like that. We was living in Oakland, California, and the streets was it was trying to snatch me up at a young age. So I turned 10, got in trouble, stealing and everything, and then I turned 11, and you know, um, my last time I got in trouble for stealing out of the store, and I was coerced into doing it from somebody else. But I was looking for some sort of acceptance, and I'll just tell you, of course, my mama beat me till I was black and blue, and then she called her brother, which is my uncle, her youngest, her little brother. Me and my uncle, we only 16 years apart, and it's crazy. It's crazy because I look, he's like a a brother, a older brother to me instead of being my uncle. And then when my mom called him, she was like, she called him. She's like, uh, She's like, Floyd, well, that's my uncle. You need to come get David, which is me, because if you don't get him, he's going to die out here in the street.
Mm.
And that was her exact words to my uncle, to her brother. If you don't, and she begged and pleaded with him, if please get him, because she's like, I don't want to lose my firstborn, I don't want to lose my only son, and she meant that. And so when she did that, we moved back. I moved back to Dallas, and that January I moved in with my uncle. And so when I moved in with my uncle, I still didn't, in a sense, I still didn't have a sense of guidance from him, because I looked at my uncle at the time more as more of a brother than at my actual uncle. You know what I'm saying? So I did some crazy stuff. Because he was married at the time and stealing money and everything from his wife purse and stuff. Because I was looking for acceptance and attention and acceptance. And that's what I was looking for. And then, when my uncle and my auntie, they got to me and like, you don't have to do none of this stuff. You don't have to steal from us. You don't have to lie to us. You don't have to do none of this stuff. All we want you to do is be a kid. Because I felt like, in a sense, my most of my part of my childhood was robbed because of what I was going through with my father passing away. And it's something that at a young age you cannot adjust. It's hard to adjust, because I looked at my father. I looked at him as he was my hero. I don't care anybody. My uncle, my father were my heroes. That's it. And when he put the law down on me, and he basically he comforted me and everything. You know, I felt at ease. So one of my coping mechanisms was playing in the band. So I played in the band in high school, played in the band in middle school, played in the band in elementary. So that's one of my coping mechanisms that I had went through. Another one was with music. I mean, like with um I used to make how you used to dub the tapes with make your mixtapes and stuff like that back then. So yeah, that's what I used to do. And then other than that, and um, just reading the sports page and watching sports, that was my coping mechanism for everything. Um, so another thing about it is that I never told my uncle near how I felt about me losing my dad. I ain't tell him until probably I was in my 30s. I'm 43 years old right now. I told him in my 30s, like, how I felt about me losing my dad. Um, and some other things that was going on with me, like when I could say when I was 10 years old, I was molested by another man. And that's another thing that I really didn't want to tell nobody, like, what I'm saying? Because it's one of them things, like, how the hell can I cope with this? How can I comprehend this? How can I compute this in my brain? You get what I'm saying? And tell somebody like what the hell happened. I didn't tell nobody until I was like 30 years old, when I told my mom and my stepdad at the time.
Mm.
And and it was crazy because my mom, she was upset, but my stepdad was like, man, you could have told us at any time, y'all. Like, literally, you could have told us at any time. But I didn't know how to say it. I would not have to set it, tell it, because we had this stigma in our community where you don't say nothing like that. You don't. You don't say nothing like that. And so, when I got to a point where I mustered up the courage to say something, I wasn't met with no backlash. I was met with, son, we ain't nothing gonna, she's like, ain't nothing gonna happen to you no more. It don't matter if you 9 or 30 or 39 or 43 or 49 or whatever. As long as my mama says she's on this earth right now, she ain't gonna let nothing happen to me. So I'm looking, in a sense, like in my older years, probably when I turned 19. When I got to Jackson State, I was a wreck. I was a wreck. I was an emotional mental wreck. But
Yeah.
I'd never let nobody see me that I was that I was struggling because of the simple fact that I put this mask on my face every day. A lot of people don't understand. I put a mask on my face every day just to get up out the bed, go to class, go eat, hang out with my friends. I have a mask on every day. But when I go to my room, I take that mask off and I felt in a sense I kind of felt 10 times worse when I got back to my room. And that's the reason why I say it's great that we have that center at Jackson State, because I wish we would have had it, and I wish I would have had the courage to say something about what I was going through back then. But with the way I took over, the way I decided to say I'm going to live for myself and for my kids. At the time I only had one child at the time, was I was coming from Deep Ellum. My sisters and them invited me out to a club. Uh, I was trying to go in. Anxiety kicked up. I decided to leave, go back to Grand Prairie. But I was so amped up, y'all, that I was in the car and I was on the phone with my best friend. And if my best friend listens to this, Jamie, I love you. You know what I'm saying? We've been down with each other for 20 years. And she heard me put my foot to that gas, and she was like, "You gonna drive yourself off this road?" And I told her, "Yeah," because I feel like I didn't have nothing else to live for. Like literally, I feel like I did not have nothing else to live for. And so she on the phone and she calmed me down. She's like, um, bro, I love you, but you need to take your ass home. And call me when you get home. And I was like, you know, at that time I was like, I will. And then when I looked at it, she also asked questions like, "What about your oldest, your baby, your baby, your child?" And is my first child. My first child was like, my first child was born in 2001. That incident happened in 2005. She was 3 years old. And if I'd have did that, she would not have had me. Or even, everybody else. Because I was thinking so selfish of myself and not even worried about what other people would think. Because I felt like in my heart that nobody didn't care about how I felt. So in the sense of that, thinking about it, I went home. Well, I stopped at Walmart to get something to eat, and I went home. This is like at 2 o'clock in the morning. Went home and went to sleep and acted like nothing ever happened. Get home, get up. Um, didn't tell my sisters or nothing like that what happened that next day. So that Monday I go to work and I had a nervous breakdown. I was, I had an anxiety attack at work, and I decided, I was like, you know what, it is time for me to get help. So my boss at the time, she was like, go home, tell your people what's going on, tell your mom what's going on, and if everything's cool, come back to work the next day. I went home. I left early, went home, and I told my mom then what was going on, and she cried because she didn't know how I was feeling.
Right.
She didn't know what um she didn't know what was going on with me. And I told her, and then my stepdad at the time, he was visibly upset at the time. But he was like, man, you could have it no matter if we have any animosity or not, you still could have told us. You know what I'm saying? I've been in your life, you've been in my life since I was 13 years old. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know nothing about Mississippi or Jackson State. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know nothing about that, or even Chicago. So the next day I went back to work, thought I was fine, and I had another nervous breakdown, y'all, at work, and the human resources officer overheard the conversation. I got called the police on over at Capel, which is not that far from me. It's literally around the corner from me. And I was let out in handcuffs because they thought I was suicidal. That was the main thing. They thought I was suicidal.
Mm.
And so I get down to Parkland, and this when Park at the old Parkland across the street, y'all. um, Not the new one where they just built, but the old one. And I was in a psychiatric ER waiting to go to a psychiatric facility, y'all. And I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. Because I've never been through anything like that. It's one of them unknowns. And so luckily they kept me inside of Parkland. Didn't have to drive, didn't have to go far off, or didn't have to go to a unit or anything like that. And we went on to the 8th floor. 8th floor is the psychiatric ward.
Mm-hmm.
I was hospitalized for 5 days. And it was one of those court appointed, like court ordered, like you can't leave this facility without going to the court, without a judge signing off on this. That was one of them things. It was one of them, it was involuntary. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just have to do, I feel like if I was in jail, I just let me do my time and you know what I'm saying? And do what I gotta do. But while I was in there, man, I was still depressed. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I really didn't want to talk to the doctors or nothing like that. I was just wanted to get up out of there because I just feel like this was not me. I ain't trying to be up in this thing. So we did an observation, and one of the nurses, she was like, she looked at me like, son, why are you in here? And I told her because I was depressed. I had a mental breakdown and I didn't know what to do. And she asked me, how old are you? At that time, I was 25. She's like, you got kids? I said, I got one child. How old is she? Little girl, 3 years at the time, 3 years old. Son, she's like, son, your ass don't need to be up in here. Because people in here is more, you got schizophrenia, you got everybody up in there. She's like, you don't need to be up in here, but we know that you want to get the help, but you don't need to be up in this facility right here.
Right.
And at the time, I was like, maybe I need to be up in here because maybe I need to see the I want to say the pitfalls, but I just need to be around some where I know in my mind I ain't trying to get back up in here.
What's the difference between what me and what they got going on, right?
Right. That's the difference. And so I like, my granny was there, and she came in and she talked to my mama, talking about, ooh, get, call me by my nickname, Scooter, man. You need to get Scooter hair fixed up. Had a big old afro braid. Got to fix his hair because I do not like that. My granny was one of them people. She born in the 30s.
Yeah.
She ain't play them. She ain't play them games right there. Appearance mean everything to her. So, um, mama in there, my uncle, my granny, they came in, my auntie, they came in to see me, my stepdad came in to see me, and I'm telling them, like, look, I'm just ready to get up out of here and um just just be
Yeah.
over and done with it. But in a sense, I thought I was ready for it, but I wasn't. And it took me a minute, and I could tell people after that, it took me a minute, but I claimed that I had that and I use it as a crutch at one point, a couple of times, and it's hard to do that. And it's not hard to do that. It's easy to do that, but it's hard to tell yourself that you don't need to use that as a crutch. But I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I can't go into my 40s. I can't go into my 50s. I can't go and when my youngest, my other child to look at me like, daddy ain't right. um So that's when I took the liberty and to help myself and get myself back together. Now I go to therapy, and talk to a licensed psychologist and everything, and then I take my medicine and stuff like that, and um, and it's just like I said, I just have things where it's a coping mechanism where I could just go through this. Like this is one of my, like I said, my podcast is one of them things. So I cope, I can release all that bad energy out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so um it's one of them things where I just wanna tell folks, man, look, you got something going on. You feeling like this is not, don't be afraid to talk to somebody about it.
And
Because yeah, professionals.
professionals first. Until you can deal with reactions of those who are not, because professionals are sworn to an oath, and
Hmm.
so there's least likely to not, then you'll get a professional just using your conversation for entertainment or just for conversation. Well,
Oh, you chopping up.
and sometimes when you're not I'm chopping up. Oh man.
You were chopping up. You good. I
Can you hear
heard
me now?
most of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because most like when you're dealing with ordinary people, and I think that's the thing that's so hard because we have conversations, and sometimes conversations, people's dealings come out as could be used as an example or just to share with someone else, but you're not ready to hear responses or other people's opinion about what you're dealing with sometimes. And so that's why professionals are usually should be your first line of defense if you can get to one. And these days we have a lot of online free sources that people can
Yep.
use, that you don't have to pay for. I know for us veterans we have a lot. It took my friend one time a year to get an appointment, and I never forget him calling me, and man, he was like, "Man, I am about to break." But he was all the way on the other side of the world in California, and I was, man, we was trying to find appointments. I had we had folks all over trying to get appointments, but we lack the professionals to get appointments back to back. So
Hmm.
now we have a lot of resources that are virtual. So we'll tell people, get to the virtual source you can, because in my world it was more of getting feedback. That's why initially when I was speaking to that therapist, I was like, No feedback. No feedback. Just let me talk. Just let me kind of thing. Oh man.
You chopping up again. Is I know because of your signal right now, because of what's the storm and everything that's coming through.
Yeah. Glitching.
Yeah, but man,
It's
yeah,
good.
it's one of them things like when when you think about it, you know, it hits home.
It hits home.
Oh, you got to echo. Hold on.
Oh, you got an echo. Hold on. Got echo? Uh-oh.
Let me see. Okay, you good now. Oh, jump back, jump off and come back on.
Yeah. Jump off.
So, one of the things, like I said, with talking about what was going on with me, and I see similar, I want to say I will see similar instances in certain kids that I've been around, and is the fact that uh, we don't tell nobody what's up, and we have to be honest. We have to be truthful with ourselves to let people know what's going on with us. So, like those days are not let anybody what's up. Those days are done. Oh shoot. What's up? What's going on? My bad. Let me see. All right. Let me see. Hold on. Audio. All right. Uncle said, what's going on? Mm, all right. Come back up. Come back up, because I don't know what's going on right now. Can anybody hear me? Make sure everybody hear me. Give a thumbs up if you can hear me. Can y'all hear me? I want to make sure y'all can hear me. Okay. Uncle said, if you can, come on back up here, man. But this is a great conversation to have right here. And once I finish this whole thing, like I am going to change the title and not the title, but I am going to change the thumbnail because like I said, I'm not trying to get sued by nobody. So I'm not trying to get sued by nobody. And we have 1,900 subscribers right now. We made it 1,900 subscribers. Now we just need 100 more so we get to 2,000. To get 100 more so we get to 2,000. But oh, hold on. All right, what's going on? Uh-oh. I think you're on mute. Turn your camera on. I mean, or not camera, but turn your microphone on. Turn your microphone on. See if you can. We still having issues. Hey, turn your microphone on. If you can hear me. Oh man, we having technical difficulties on this end. But we do have a show tonight at 7 o'clock. It's Trash Talk Wednesday for the Orange Blossom Classic. Make sure that you bring your best trash talk game for tonight. Also, tonight is going to be fundraising night, fundraising Wednesday. We got well, it's not an initiative, but it's in a sense of trying to get better equipment for the podcast because I got invited by the JSU DFW National, the Alumni Association to do a watch party. And I think it would be best to try to find where we could get a camera at a good, decent price. And it will be the everyday camera because it will be used as a the webcam to broadcast show, but also to take pictures and everything. On the field, off the field, wherever we at. So we're gonna have fundraising Wednesday tonight, and also tonight again it is pump or dump, as always, man. Pump or dump. What's going on, Aaron? What's going on, man? Bet me. Send me your phone number. Yeah, you can do it now. I'll pick it up. I got you. EA, you on here? We can come on up here so we can talk some FAMU football tonight. But I know, in a sense, this has been a subject I don't think not too many people will want to touch. Also, we had an idea, y'all. We had an idea. If you know somebody that went to a HBCU that is down for HBCUs, send them a link and send them a link, the link to the channel so they could share. You can share it, and they could become subscribers as well. Let me see if he. Third time's a charm. Is it good?
Third time was a charm. How
All
are
right,
you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. We got the
Hey, you guys. Yeah, I've been trying to build up the courage pretty much all day. I guess God just told me to take a couple times before I come on in. And also, he told me, son, use your Wi-Fi. You're at work. But anyway, just to share something, and what I'm about to share, I hope Brother Brown or anyone that's close to him can actually hear what I've been hearing the entire time. And I thank you personally, Doc, for shedding light into further shedding light, excuse me, into our community concerning the importance of mental health. When I was 16, I was 15, about to turn 16 years old. I was a junior at Callaway High School. And, during the times, you got your finals right before you about to get out, for the summer and all that stuff. So it was my last final. And I'll never forget, I was asleep. It was still like, 8 o'clock, and school started at 8:30. So my dad knocked on my door, and I was still asleep, because been sneaking on the phone all night before. You know how this stuff go, teenage stuff.
Yeah.
And so the last voice I heard was my dad, and my dad was like, "Cedric, get up, get up, get up, get up. Go on, take that last final, son." And so eventually I did. My last final, I never forget, it was at 11 o'clock that morning. And so I got there, me and a couple of my partners, carpool and all that stuff. So I took the final exam and, stayed at school the rest of the day, then I went over my friend's house after school. And so my mom had been looking for me the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
And so she can always realize, because your parents pretty much, back then, even now, even more so now, but, they can call around the neighborhood and you're going to be somewhere over somebody's house. And so she called my best friend and I was actually over there. And so she was crying. And she said, "Well, your dad just had a massive heart attack." And so I dropped the phone. And she picked me up. We went to the hospital. He was on a ventilator. And all I can hear was the voice going. I could just see him lying there, but he was still, he was still living, but he was on the, ventilator.
Right.
And only thing I could just remember was, I didn't see his physical presence this morning because hell, I was still asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard his voice saying, "Cedric, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up." And and then he passed. He had another heart attack while he was in the hospital, and I lost him. And so going into my senior year, I never forget my high school counselor.
Yeah.
One of them. She had stated, "Well, have you?" She was like, "Cedric, have you?" She was like, "You're a good student." Called me to the office. So I'm thinking I'm in trouble because, of course, back then, bad boy stuff, skipping school. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
she said, "Well, Cedric, have you you want to talk about anything?" And I was like, "No." And so she was like, "Are you sure?" She was like, "You're a very bright student, and we're just here to help you." And I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Okay, I'll keep that in mind." And so, the year went by, everything, pretty cool. It's still fresh, on my brain a little bit, being a young kid, adolescent. But, I heard you stated that you were masking
Mm-hmm.
and just understand, Doc, you're not alone because, I did it. And what masked it for me was, similar to the Brother Brown, I was in a band. I played basketball for the school. You know, I played golf. Ran track. Basically I was very active.
Right.
And so went through school. Went to college, still masking it, and so I had to join the military. And because I had lost my scholarship. Pledging and all that stuff, partying and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so after graduated, everything's fine, no worries, no nothing. And then it got serious back here in 2004 because, I ended up getting activated.
Mm.
And so we, first 2 months, training, um, 3 days, 3 days in country. I end up on a practice jump. I end up tearing my ACL, MCL, and PCL. And so I never forget, you know how it is, you know, when word get out in town, although Jackson's a city, but you know, it's still you still have a small community, if you will.
Right.
And so at the time I was married to my son's mom. And so I never forget, you know, I'm at the house, you know, crutches, all this stuff, and there was a knock at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was my high school counselor. And I'm talking about I've been gone from this school, you know, forever, you know. So, you know, I forgot all about it.
Right.
And so she was like, well, Cedric, I heard about you. Thank you for, you know, defending the country and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, okay. I was like, yes, ma'am. I graduated, got a master's and all that. She said, really? I was like, yes, ma'am. And so I'm married now. And he was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, okay. And so about 6 months into it,
Mm-hmm.
I started having these nightmares. And it was that same voice from high school saying, Cedric, get up, get up, get up. And Mr. Brown, if you're out there, son, never blame anybody. Because this really touched me because, you know, my deceased dad and my mom are both Jackson State graduates, as well as myself. And you know, I went to undergrad in Tougaloo, but you know, I always wanted to get a piece of paper, if you will, from Jackson State just to honor them. But Mr. Brown, if you're out there, man, there has been services for years, even back in my time. Even back in my time. And how I know is my high school counselor was enlightening me to this stuff. And I felt like I didn't need it because I was masking it being involved. But I will like to say this to you, Mr. Brown. If you're listening, if you're listening, let's not push the blame on anyone and just go seek the help. Because there are, from these comments and things like this that's been on Twitter, this really hits home with people like myself. I apologize, but
That's
it really
good.
hits home
Good.
because Jackson State is a state school. It's an institution of higher learning. And you have the proper resources. You know, I've been in the healthcare business for over 25 years. Time I left undergrad, after a year after I left undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, on the financial side, you know, whatever, and now executive side. But when I was speaking, you know, about it, when you guys brought it to me yesterday, that's when I knew. Obviously, it was something or some entity that did not enlighten the young man, because on college, especially state schools, you have to provide the proper care through mental health, through any type of illness on a college campus, because let me break it down to you.
Mhm.
It's an institution.
Right.
Although, and it's not, an institution is not to be used derogatory,
Right.
but you know, the prisons are institutions. And if you see there, they get free healthcare. If you think about it, if you really,
Mhm.
really think about it. And, if those things were true, not saying that they weren't, um, Mr. Brown, you might, and family, you might want to, kind of file an appeal. I read he was saying something about his mom had to pay for medications. And if that, I'm not saying it wasn't true, but you can actually appeal that and kind of, get your money back on. She can get her money back on that. One reason, because on a college campus, especially a state school, it has the appropriate funding for those type of things, because the IHL, they understand that there's going to be people, with trauma and kids and things of that nature. And you have to understand there's a lot of monies that are poured into that, because if you think about it, there's trauma that comes with, you know, getting grades, playing sororities, fraternities, playing sports, or getting a brand new professor each semester, and you
Mhm.
have to adjust to their educational styles. So, Mr. Brown, if you're hearing this, son, please, please, sir, continue to get your help, young man. I'm glad that you feel comfortable, where you at, but please, we perish for lack of knowledge. And let's not shed light on to something that's totally not there. And Doc, I really, really, because I'm emotional now, because I heard this other little interview about him losing a guy that was a father figure to him,
Right.
while he was in college. um, But Mr. Brown, I'm not making excuses, not comparing my situation to yours. But the man I became today, 4 degrees later, military veteran, I had to do it with my hero gone. With my hero gone. So, Mr. Brown, if you're listening, sir, just please, please don't do that again. Please, please. I'm begging you, sir. Don't do it. Just be thankful that you're getting the help now. Because a lot of us, I had to deal with that every day since I was 16 years old. All right, Doc, I thank you, man. We'll be on the chat. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, man. I just thank everybody for. I mean, that was powerful, y'all. Um, that was powerful, and it's not in any way to bash the young man, because, like we said, we've been there. We been there before. We've been there before, and we want to make sure that we want to make sure that you're okay, that you're getting your proper care and everything, and just take some time to yourself to um just evaluate. You know what I'm saying? Evaluate life. I think that's a thing that a lot of us don't do, is evaluate life. So but yeah, it's one of the things where I, like I said, my father was my hero. My father was my hero. My father was everything to me. My stepfather was everything to me. My uncle, he's still alive. He was everything. He's everything to me. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like my grandmother was everything to me. Um, my kids, it's just a lot of people being everything to me. But when it's all said and done, it's only you, and only you can either, you know, break the cycle or just be numb to it. And I don't want you to be numb to nothing. Yeah. I don't want to be numb to nothing. I don't want you to be numb to anything. Once you get numb to something, then your mind is not there. So, we encourage everybody. We encourage everybody on here. How you doing, Miss Veronica? We encourage everybody on here is to, what I'm saying, always every morning when you wake up, get a mental checkup. Just do a mental checklist every morning you wake up. And like I said, this is nothing to downplay the young man or anything like that, because like I said, I empathize with you. I empathize because I know how it feels. A lot of us know how it feels. A lot of us in here know how it feels. But I wanted to say empathy, I wanted to have empathy because, you know, you still gonna have support. You're still gonna have support. You're still gonna have a strong, what I'm saying, base. So so I know I know when right before I started this thing, I knew something in my heart was like, man, you might need to change the deal on this, and or just change the title, and I kind of ran with it. But getting advice from everybody, like um getting advice from from everybody on here, make sure that you just highlight this, and don't highlight this, and make sure you don't talk about this. If we try to make sure that we're in the clear, because at one point in time, I don't want this to be damaging. I don't want this to damage him or nothing like that, because maybe this video needs to go out to somebody else who needs it. Maybe this video could be a testimony for somebody else who needs it. So um yeah, I truly understand what you, Miss Veronica. I truly understand. And I did that once before. I did that for a while, and then my first wife was like, "Nope, you can't do that. You cannot do that. You cannot keep doing that to yourself. And that's when I, got the help. And then the missus now, she's like, nah, you don't need to do that to yourself. And, you continue getting the help that you need. So, but I still, I was depressed when I got divorced. Like, yeah, I ain't never been through no divorce. Shoot, this is my first time ever going through something like this. But it's one of them things where you have to kind of learn. You gotta learn from it, and you know, and move on and become a better you. Yeah, Mr. Hardy, that is correct, y'all. That is correct. Yeah, we gotta be able to make sure. But um, like I said, like Uncle said, man, um, um, Mr. Brown, if you're listening, like I said, if you're listening, just 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 get yourself together, worry about yourself, and make sure that you have that strong support base with you. But oh, we gonna shut this down right here. We tonight is Trash Talk Wednesday. It is Trash Talk Wednesday tonight. So all you you rattlers that's in here, that's on the page, that's on the channel, bring your best trash talk, but respectfully. All right. And of course, all my JSU family, you know what I'm saying? You know how we do. We, Lynch Street Mafia coming up in the building as always. But we get ready for this. I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna say the title, the actual title, the Orange Blossom Classic, but I know everybody gonna call it the Blue Blossom Classic. Um, you know what I'm saying? We gonna be ready for it. And if you are in the DFW area, come out on Sunday. Let me get this. Some Who sent this to me the other day? Okay, so Sunday it's the Jackson State versus FAMU watch party. Uh, and the DJ is going to be DJ Fire. So it is um it is a joint event with the JSU Alumni Association of DFW and the FAMU Alumni Association of Dallas Fort Worth. So they are going to be at 413. That is the name of the lounge. 755 State Highway 121, Louisville, Texas. That's pretty much around the corner from my house. It starts at 1:30. I think the game starts at 2. So they, come in there. So I will be pretty much broadcasting. So they want early arrival is suggested. Uh uh yeah, Veronica, I'm gonna give you my number. Uh uh Quay, Quay, give me my number. Okay, hold on. There you go, Miss Veronica. There you go. Um, just text me if you got it. Um, okay. Ooh, and the prayers to out there in Florida. EA, are you in Tallahassee or you in Tampa? Because we still praying for y'all out there. I know football is secondary to people's lives. that's going through the midst of this storm right here. So just let me know if you still jumping on. If not, man, we can kind of pivot to something else, y'all. All right, bro. All right, Miss Veronica. Just hit me. Um, yeah. So it's one of them things where it's something you just got to be talked about, y'all. It's just something we got to be got to be talked about. I don't want to make sure if I ain't in trouble, if I'm in trouble or not. Let me know. Say we may be on standby. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that. I seen that earlier, and I know what them eyes. We know what them eyes are for on standby. But but other than that, y'all, man, look, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for the prayers for the missus. Like I said, her daughter had surgery. My stepdaughter, she had surgery on Friday, and she has been recovering and resting well. Um, she had to go back to the hospital over the weekend. She caught pneumonia, but other than that, man, she is recovering and she is resting. And the missus has wanted to thank y'all for what I'm saying, um, praying and supporting and making sure everything is fine and everything is cool. Um, but yeah, we are. She should be back in another week or two, coming back to Dallas. So man, that's all we worried about right now, and um, to me, it is what it is, y'all. But um, this has been this is the first episode of Let's Talk About It, and with conjunction of HBCU Overdrive. If you haven't done it by now, make sure that you hit make sure that you like the stream, make sure that you comment, share, and most of all, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get everything HBCU Overdrive. Also, if you want to become an exclusive family member, all you have to do is just either hit the join button on the outside of the chat, and you could choose between two tiers. We have the blue and we have the purple. Um, Either one that you click on, it goes back towards the channel. It does not go in my pocket. So um other than that, like I said, we got a show tonight at 7 o'clock. Trash Talk Wednesday tonight. Pump a dump with inside with this show. And on Friday, I would put a pre-recorded preview of the games for Saturday. So that will be a premiere for that. And also on Saturday afternoon, I will be in Houston to basically cover Texas Southern and Prairie View. And like I said, Sunday I will be at 413 in Louisville, Texas, doing going to do the watch party to basically go on live at the watch party. But yep, as always, this is Doc Holiday. I am the voice of HBCU culture. This has been HBCU Overdrive live stream. As always, we are here. As I say, y'all be blessed. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay dangerous. And if you're still in the heat, stay hydrated. And if you're out in Florida, stay inside and don't go out. 7 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Be back on here. Peace.